Hello, my name's Jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess. And if anyone ever invents the croissant, I'm going to shave my mustache off, move to a new town, change my name, and grow a different mustache because that thought terrifies me. I've lost sleep over it. But do me a favor and hit that like button or your cat will explode. And guess what we got, boys and girls? We got the Work Sharp RMX. So, you guys knew if there was any way for me to get one, I was going to go ahead and get one. And I was at Blade Show, and this was like my third or fourth stop, and I went ahead and grabbed one because, well, it's the Work Sharp RMX. Let's get into this thing. Gimme. Time! Okay, so let's take a look at what we're holding, because it'll bother you if I don't. And you know I love you. So, first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. We've got the magnesium integral. We got a button lock. Let's hit the button. And we got right about 3 inches of M390 steel. Okay, so you guys may or may not know, but I am a sucker for a good gimmick. And this is the gimmickiest gimmick to ever gimmick in years now. This thing converts from a button lock to an automatic. That is fantastic. So, you know, this is one that, you know, as soon as I saw it, and, you know, we're going to talk for a little bit before we switch this over to a full auto. But, you know, I saw this thing when they flew Outdoors 55. They flew Neebs out. They flew Ben Peterson out. And they showed this thing off. I was thinking this thing's going to be like $250. Easy. No, the pricing on this is actually really good. It was 140 American dollars. All right, that's not Vietnamese dong. That is American dollars. That is ridiculously good pricing for something like this. Like, there's so much going on here that it should cost a lot more. And I don't know if they're getting this out there just to get their name out and get Work Sharp as a knife-making company out there. I'm not sure. But this thing is absolutely gorgeous. This is one of the coolest looking knives I've had in a while, and the magnesium feels unnaturally light. Having an integral is pretty nice. Now, that being said, I'm not the world's biggest fan of the way the button works on this thing, is you really got to press it all the way down, like full send. And when it's closed, the button lock does not let it open. It's a bit of a safety, yeah. Like, it's safe, but I like my button locks to centrifugal open, and this one doesn't. But the button lock is smooth. It does work well. It's just my muscle memory is not tuned to this particular button lock. It works differently than a lot of other button locks I've handled. So, you know, I was real excited about the pricing, and this comes in like 3 different versions. This one is M390, and I think the M390 is exclusive to the drop point. You've got a shorter modified Warncliffe here. You've got a modified Warncliffe that's this size, and I think these guys are in 20 CV, but I could be wrong. I do not remember exactly what my options were when I bought this. I promise you, I was standing there. Everybody was crowding around. I'm like, can we buy these? Yes. Give me one now. And they were asking questions, and they just said drop point. Yes, drop point, please. Because drop point's my favorite blade shape. Like, this is my EDC blade shape du jour, and yeah, like, I'm really happy with what I got. So let's take a look at converting this thing to an auto, and this can be a little bit of a fiddly process, so forgive me if it takes me a little while to get it done. But they do give you this weird tool with the little thing that you need for the automatic button and a T8 bit right here. So let's go ahead and get into this thing. So step uno, we're going to go ahead and loosen up the pivot screw. And we're going to drop out this pivot right here. And I'm holding this in place with my index finger to make life a little bit easier. If I put this thing down, then we're going to lose track of it, and we'll have to put everything together from scratch, which I hate. But now, we're going to try to line the dingus into the spring right here. The dingus end right here, we're going to try to line it up with a notch in the blade. Okay, we're seated, so we're going to start tightening this down a little bit. Now, before you tighten it all the way down, as you can see, the spring wants to recoil off of this a good little bit. So you fiddle with tightening this thing down. You're going to hear a click. There's the click. And then you finish tightening your pivot collar down, and there you go. It's an automatic. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I like this thing in automatic mode a lot more than I like the button lock. But I also love an out-the-side automatic. But that's all it takes. That was what, like a minute and a half, something like that? And then, of course, I'll put this in the bag with all the spare parts they give you. And then we'll put this back in the box along with the specialized tool. You don't want to lose this because I'm pretty sure that Blade HQ, or not Blade HQ, Worksharp will sell you a new one. I'd bet good money. But I don't want to lose that because I don't really feel like having to deal with getting another one and having to be patient. But yeah, I mean, that's all it took to convert this thing. And like I said, I couldn't be happier with how this turned out. Like I said, the button lock, it works. It's fluid. You just have to get used to it. Or, correction, I have to get used to it. Like I said, I'm used to my button locks, centrifugal opening, and requiring about 70% pressure on there instead of 100%. But other than that, it works really good. And it's safe. It's not going to open on you. And it's kind of the same thing here. It's locked into place, and that's probably why it locks when it's closed as a button lock, because it has to stay locked when it's an auto too. Let's take a look at our edge on this from the factory. Because it's from Worksharp, I expect it to be really sharp. Yeah, look at that, guys. Yeah, it is really, really sharp. Now, let's get the edge sharpness tester out that was kindly provided by you guys through your super chat donations, your channel memberships, what have you. And let's take a look at where the edge is sitting right now. Let's get ourselves a fresh test clip. And yeah, so I mean, it's been a hell of a thing. Like I said, the second I saw this, I became insanely jealous of the guys that got to ride out there and check it out and do the promotional videos. And this is probably the second or third time I've gotten something on the day of release. That doesn't happen to me very often. It's kind of like you guys through your super chat donations and channel memberships, y'all covered the Blade Show trip, and this is something that y'all covered as part of that. Let me wipe this thing off real quick. And contact 140. So 140 is where I like to see some of the blades after I sharpen them. Now, they said it was at a 20-degree edge bevel, 20 degrees per side. Now, what this means is with it being M390 and being something that should be a bit on the tougher side, if I understand correctly, it's going to take a lot of effort to hog the material off of this, but at 17 degrees per side, it should be screaming sharp. When we put our edge bevel on it the way I like them, this thing should be absolutely screaming sharp. I cannot wait. Now, one thing that I do notice is there is just some kind of intermittent traces of the last stone they used before they polished the edge. Kind of along here, it's not the cleanest finish, but they probably made that edge a little bit toothy so that it cuts a little better. And of course, you guys that have been around for a minute know I like my highly polished edges that don't have any marks on them whatsoever. Just a full-on mirror polish. But this is still way better of an edge bevel than I'm used to seeing out of a lot of my knives. It's not a micro bevel. It is a nice fat bevel, not quite as fat as I get them, but it's a nice fat bevel. It's highly polished. It's really, really nice. This thing is definitely a bit of a trip to use. And of course, I am still getting used to the fineries of it, the ins and outs of using this thing. But yeah, I mean, it is a very, very cool gimmick. This thing is really, really cool. And I believe they sold out on the website within about 30 minutes. So if you're interested in one of these, I would be keeping my eye on the Worksharp website and just checking back periodically until they get some more in stock. I have to imagine they had this run, it sold out, and they're going to be making more. I know they promised they were going to be there were going to be more in stock. And it should be, once things calm down a little bit, if I had to guess, and this is just spitballing a guess, but if I had to guess, they're going to be in stock more consistently and reliably, and you can just go buy one when you want to. But, you know, I can't thank you guys enough for making this possible, and I can't think of a whole lot else to add about this thing. You know, I showed you guys converting it to an automatic. We've talked about this thing, so all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in. I appreciate you so, so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We got regular videos, live streams. There's plenty of activities. Comments, I love some feedback. Let me know what you think about this thing or anything else. And as always, I have my Amazon shop linked off. You don't have to use it, but it's the best way I've found to show you cool stuff that I've found in the last couple months here. And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.